everyone, this is the Mercedes-Benz GLC 63S, and if you don't want an Alfa Romeo, this would be a very viable option.
So we're going to start with the design, but before we go on with anything else, a huge shout out to 4Buy here in Four Ways. Thank you for the chance to be able to do this car. I know they don't normally do this kind of stuff, but just for us, they gave us this car. Right, let's talk about the GLC 63S. This is the S model. Just want to say firstly, you can't really tell the difference between the S and the normal one. Very, very difficult to tell. You only have a badge at the back. I'll show you that later. In the front, you have completely brand new air intakes. Most of them are completely real, like the one you see over here. This one down here should be real. There's a slat. Most of it is closed off. You have the front grille, huge, massive front grille. It's all opened up. It actually does feed air into it. Another intake that is mostly closed off, seems fake, but actually is real, is over here. You have a very tiny slat over here. Slight slat over there where my hand is. That is to be able to provide cooling to the brakes. Now, this car is on steel brakes. On both sides, you do have those slats that you provide cooling. There aren't really any other aero details that will tell this car different to maybe the 2-liter diesel that most people buy. On the side, you have a lot more black pieces. You have some black over here. This is an option that was available in the car. You can just have it in normal body color. Most people chose this option. It was only about 2,000 Rand. On the side over here, you have the V8 bi-turbo 4MATIC badge over there. You have beautiful 22-inch rims over there, or 21 inches actually. That was an option there, but you can't get them standard for this specific model because this is the S, remember. Now, on the side, looks exactly the same as the normal G63. You wouldn't be able to tell it apart from the badge. Now coming back here, there are only about 2 or 3 differences from this car to a normal AMG GLC 63. That is, got the S badge over here. You also have a slightly more protruding in the back diffuser. Now, this is to be able to provide some drag because you will need that car. You will need that to be able to keep this car down. You have the AMG exhaust pipes there. Now, another thing that's a bit annoying, you actually have 4 pipes. So you have 2 over here, 2 on the other side. But this is actually one exhaust. So sure, it looks like it's 4 pipes, but it's actually one exhaust inside, more in between them. You can't really see on the video well because it's that low down. Now you can see it. It's one exhaust and you can sort of see it on both ends. That's very Mercedes AMG of them. I don't understand why they keep doing that. I don't understand why it's become this sort of trend with German performance cars, but that's really all that's different from the normal GLC 63S to a normal GLC.
So moving underneath the bonnet of this amazing car is a 4-liter bi-turbo V8 handcrafted in Germany by Mustafa Arici, Mercedes AMG Germany. And I just want to say a big thank you to Mustafa because obviously with AMG, before they cut off the V8s and did all of the nonsense now that they do it 4 cylinders and 6 cylinders, this is an amazing engine because the power figures are insane. Power is at around 510 horsepower and 700 newton meters of torque. That's almost 100 newton meters more than the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio, and that car has a derived Ferrari 488 engine. So 0 to 100 times is about 4 seconds, which is actually good considering that this car is a compact SUV. And when you're moving something like this, I don't think you want to be really going so extremely fast because you'll feel like maybe it might tip over, or you feel like it just won't be stable enough. So another cool thing that you can actually see is the 2 turbochargers right there. So when you want to step on this car, it will move because the air will actually come into here, feed into the intakes right here, and just swoop in and just spin the turbos and just give you 510 horsepower and 700 meters of torque. Hearing those numbers, it's insane because with the Quadrifoglio, it has 100 newton meters less. So you will be accelerating fast and you will be more powerful. And another thing is, of course, it has 4MATIC all-wheel drive, just like Audi's Quattro system. But then Mercedes comes into clutch because they have a 9-speed automatic transmission as well. Okay guys, so now that we're on the interior of this car, I just wanted to speak about the general quality. So of course it's a Mercedes-Benz, so you will get high finish and high top quality material such as leather on the dashboard. You get the Burmester sound system right here, And this is actually wood. I wasn't really sure of it at the beginning, but I came to think of it, and I did a bit of research that this is actually wood right here. And of course, being Mercedes, you have the seat controls onto the door cards. When I got in here, I was first ruffling around right here, but then I remembered it's a Mercedes, so you will get the seat controls onto the door handle. So now moving on to the rest of the interior, of course you have much of the functions on the steering wheel, because when you're driving around with a performance car like this, you don't really want to be taking your hands on and off at the same time. So if I actually switch on the ignition right now, or the accessory power, you see the digital gauge cluster right there, and you can see much of it is still new. I like the graphic of the earth right there. That's pretty cool to see. Actually, let me turn down the volume right now because it's a bit intruding. And then obviously over here, it's Mercedes' old MBUX system. Now, I will say it is amazing, and I don't think you would be coming at fault if you were buying this car and being like, I'm not getting the best of anything. But it's Mercedes, they will give you quality, and they still will give you a luxurious feeling interior. And as you can see, it's still pretty fast. I don't know if it is a touchscreen. Oh, nice. I didn't actually realize that, because in most Mercedes models, much of them have usually controlled with the click pad right here, as you can hear, and they don't give you any functionality, of course, with touching the screen. So it's kind of cool to see that Mercedes both gave you a touchscreen and a touchpad.
So over here on the passenger side, the front passenger side, we have Eugene playing around with the Bluetooth over there. But let's talk about the central console right now. You have most of the controls down here, including the AMG badge over there on top of real wood. This is actual metal, by the way. Then you have cup holders in there, you have a wireless charging pad, you have a USB-C port over there, you have two more USB-C ports over here, you have a good big space. You can't really fit water bottles in here or anything, but it's still very good if you want to carry like large stuff and keys that you don't want flying around. You have performance settings closer to the passenger side than the driver's side. I don't understand that. You also have the center of your infotainment system. This is where you control it mostly, but you can use your fingers as a touchscreen if you don't want to use this sort of mouse pad key thing here. You also have ambient lighting by where your footwells are, and you have leather up here, leather here, you have aluminium there, you have leather here, you have leather up here, you have real wood over here, you have aluminium on top of your Burmester sound system, you have metal buttons all round. Not even the Lamborghini Urus has this, and you have it in your 1 million rand Mercedes-Benz. You have metal in here. This is the only piece of plastic I could find immediately. You have leather over here, leather over here, leather. No, that's plastic, but it looks like leather. That is aluminium. That is some rough plastic over there. You have some rough plastic over there with a cup holder, another sort of space over there, and a huge deep storage compartment over there. It goes way back into the door. You can fit a very large bottle in there. I don't know if you can fit like a 1 liter, but it's still very useful. You have red seat belts. This is standard on the 63S, not on the normal 63. That could be optioned, but all of this is very nice. It's very nice to have all of this stuff. You also have a sunroof, which you can control up here. This is all plastic. It's not all metal, sadly, but I mean, I can't complain. We were in a Lamborghini Urus recently. You can see that video after you watch this one, or Eugene will link it in a pop-out banner of some sort. That didn't have as much controls, at least in metal, than this had. And you also have the sunroof over there. It comes back over here, so it moves backwards over here, but also it doesn't sort of move forward from there. It sort of moves back over here when the sunshade is going in. And then you have the sunroof opening over there.
And one thing I also wanted to speak about, because I didn't say it when I was on this side, are the paddle shifters. I don't understand how Mercedes-Benz does it, but I think compared to like BMW, Audi, and much of the brands that it competes with, I think this competes with even a Porsche PDK paddle shifter feeling. I don't know how they do it, but it's so mechanical. It feels so good. It's like you're actually doing something with the engine. Like if we were actually driving this car, it would be amazing. I have driven an E63 before, and even back then when they were doing paddle shifters, when automatics was still coming onto the market, it was amazing how they just made you feel like you're like a racing driver or like an F1 car. So anyway, let's actually head to the back so that we can see if it still is a practical SUV.
So being a compact SUV, you still want a lot of space in the back, and well, you do get a lot of that space. Look, more decent than a Hyundai Creta, and it's still a GLC 63, which means you still have a lot of decent space. You have a little bit of a net over here on the side. You have another space for like a wine bottle or something that's there. You have some metal, well, metal looking, actually it's actual metal. It's actual metal here that you have that's covering up where you would have a spare tire, but you don't have one, but you instead have all your roadside assistance kit. Here they put a tire repair kit and everything, and there's another net over there in case you want to have your dog in the back, or if you don't want any groceries flying around, where you have these pull down cords over here. And obviously, being a compact family sedan, you can push all the seats down, and that's about it really. So let's go to Eugene for the conclusion.
Now that we reach the end of this wonderful review, what do we think about it? Well, compared to like something like the Alfa Romeo Stubble Quadrifoglio, it is kind of the same car, although this has 100 millimeters of torque more. We just prefer the luxury of this one because it's a Mercedes-Benz at the end of the day, and we all know Alfa, they haven't really made a substantial car to compete with something like the Germans in the past like 20 to 30 years. So we just want to say a big thank you again to 4Buy for actually allowing us to come and review this car. The links will be down below if you guys want to come check out this car or even more cars that they have for sale. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.